Hey everyone, welcome back. This is part two. So we've modeled the head in part one, and again, it's a simple cube. But now we're going to go ahead and do the UV unwrapping and setting up, so that way the head actually looks like good old Indiana Jones's head. Okay, so what we're going to do is up here at the top where we see all these tabs, we're going to click on UV editing. And now we see that our cube has gone into edit mode. I'm going to temporarily hide this image. So up here in the top right hand corner, I'm going to find my head reference image, click on the little eyeball and hide it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to select the entire cube, and when you bring in a cube or use the default cube or any of Blender's default objects, Blender automatically UV unwraps it for you these days. So that's really nice. Okay, so now I want to come over here on the right and I want to click on this icon right here. It looks like a little red beach ball. And I want to go ahead and it's already got a material here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to call this head. There we go. And then down here where it says base color, I want to go ahead and click on the little yellow dot and I want to choose an image texture. And because I already have this image loaded into Blender, I don't have to click on open. I can just click on this first little button right here and I can just choose my image. Or you can click on open and you can do it that way as well. So now the image loads in and you can see now over here on the left hand side, I can see the image there and I can see my, my UV unwrapping. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is over here on the right window, I'm going to press the letter Z and I'm going to choose Material Preview so that way I can see it, and there we are in all of our glory. All right, so now what I'm going to do very simply is I'm going to switch over to Face Select mode. And so up here at the top, you'll see these three little buttons here. This is Vertex Select mode, Edge Select mode, and Face Select. I find Face Select is the easiest. So, all right, so now you have to figure out which one of these faces is actually the front of his face. I like to make the front of my character's face be in the Y axis, so this green axis here. So it's either this one here or it's this one here. You decide. So this is positive Y, and this is negative Y. And the way you can tell that is by this little tool up here. Positive Y is the filled in green dot, and negative Y is the hollow one. So it really doesn't matter which one you do as long as you figure it out and you stick with it. So, okay, I think I'll stick with positive Y. So positive Y is going to be his face. So when I select it over here on the right, I now see it over here on the left. And so now what I can do is I can come over here and I can press A and select all, and then I can press G and grab it, and you can see that as I move it over here, you can see that the changes are showing up over here. So what I need to do is I need to, in my left window, I need to press R and rotate it. And you can see it looks okay over here, but you can see it definitely doesn't look okay over here on the cube. So what that means is it means that I have to rotate my UVs some more until it looks correct. And so this actually looks correct. And I'm looking at my cube over here. So his face is right side up, but you can see that it's all kind of squished and not looking so good. So now what I can do is over here in my UV window, I have all these little buttons up here in the top left-hand corner, very much like these three over here. So what I'm going to do is I've got, I can select single UVs with this first button right here. So again, this is like vertex mode, edge mode, face mode. Okay, so I'm going to choose the very first one, which is vertex mode. And if I left click and I select one, let me zoom in on it. I can now select it and I can press G and I can grab it and I can move it in anywhere I want. So I just want it to go right here in the top left-hand corner of his hat. Okay, I'll now select this one, G to grab it, and get it right over here in the top right. Select, G to grab, and it becomes very repetitive. Now what I like to do is I don't actually like to see the black line on my character over here. So I like to get the vertex right on the inside there so you don't see that black. Again, it's up to you. I just like my characters like that. So I tend to go on the inside of that black line. Okay, so you can see that I'm just zooming and moving around. Okay, now don't worry about that little white slit that you see there. Again, I'm choosing Indiana Jones. You could choose somebody else. The brim of his hat will go there and that will be covered up. Okay, so that, if I press A, you can see that his face, his front of his face looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the top. This one's going to be super easy. So I'll just select it and you can see here's the top right here. I'll come over here on the left-hand side. I'll press A to select all. This one's super easy because it's just a solid brown. I'm going to press S to scale it, make it nice and small, G to grab it, bring it over here, and I don't even need to do any more work to it because it's just going over the solid color brown. If there was something else here underneath the hat, like some lines or something, then I would need to rotate it and scale it just like I did for the front of his face. But that one is considered done, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, so now I'm going to choose this side here, which is the left side of his head. So I'll come back over here to my UV window. I'll press A to select all, G to grab, and let's drag it over here, zoom in. Again, I'm taking a look here. I'm now going to come back over here to my UV window where I'm doing all my work. I'm going to rotate it, and it looks like it needs to be like that. Okay, so there we go. So that is now facing the correct direction. It just needs to be now tweaked. So I'm just going to, again, select the single vertex there, G to grab, and get it on the inside here. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, so here's the last vertex. Again, select it, G to grab it, get it right on the inside. This starts going really fast once you start getting the hang of it. Press A to deselect all, and you can see it looks pretty good. One thing is with this character here, I can see by looking at his 5 o'clock shadow, his beard here, you can see that it is lining up. I can see it's lining up pretty good here. It's off by a little bit. So again, I can play around with it a little bit, but it's pretty darn good. Okay, so the rest of his head would be done the exact same way. The bottom is really easy because, again, that's just the flesh color here. So I can press S, scale it on down, G to grab it, get it down here. Now, you aren't really going to see this, but what I like to do, so you're not going to see this text here, I like to just scale it down, grab it, and put it right over here, the solid color, and we have a nice skin tone there. So that works pretty well. Okay, so I hope this helps you out, and just keep going around and doing all of the other faces like that. Make sure that everything looks good, and just make sure you are saving constantly. I'll see you in the next video, and that will be, we'll probably go ahead and I might do the hat next just to take care of this. And then in the third video, then I'll do the body. So if your character doesn't have any props, like here, he's got the gun and he's got a hat and he's got the idol. If your character doesn't have any props, if it's just the character, then you could go ahead and you could skip to the third video, which will be the body and the torso. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Thanks, everyone.